Greetings, today. Welcome to another session of Cyber Law and Ethics. My name is Muhammad Rahmat Ali. So, in today's session, we're going to study about cyber crimes and the cost of cyber crime. Before we start our today's topic, let me revise what are the things that we have studied in the previous session. In the previous session, we've seen an overview of what we are going to learn in chapter 4 with reference to the cybercrime, with reference to intellectual property rights, with reference to the different methods of being attacked, with reference to social media, with reference to businesses, with reference to other things. In today's session, we are going to see specifically about cybercrime. What actually is cybercrime? Who commits cybercrime? And what are the we can say the aspect of cybercrime, and what are the consequences related to the cybercrime. Let me start. Cybercrime is any criminal activity that involves a computer or a network device or a network. Basically, cybercrime is, like many of the people doesn't understand the intensity what cybercrime is all about. See, anything which is personal is being considered as a personal property. For instance, your mobile phone, you have the complete right of your mobile phone to access it. But when your mobile phone is not with you, or it has been placed somewhere, or it has been with other person, the other person who is using that particular phone, or handling that particular phone, has no right to access your mobile phone. It can be with reference to your laptop, it can be with reference to your books, it can be with reference to any of your intellectual property. If that particular thing is being used for a criminal purpose, then it becomes a crime. If at all the same thing is been occurred in a cyberspace, then it is called as a cyber crime. Now, how it is been done? It is usually been done with a computer, or it is been done with any of the device connected to a network or by a network. So this is what we call as a cyber crime. To make you understand it in a better way, I can give you the example in this way, that we are in a class and there are 4 rows in the class. Row 1 is behaving well, row 2 is also behaving well. In row 3, there are some of the people who are trying to disturb the particular class. The moment the faculty turns towards the board, they start passing some comments, or they start doing some of the mischievous things. So at that instance, in that particular classroom, it has been considered as a nuisance. It has been considered as a nuisance. Okay, now considering the same example, and considering the same example, and we see it in a cyberspace, wherein every of the person is using internet as a classroom, and every of the group, for example, employees are working, some of the people are downloading something, some of the people are uploading something, and some of the people are just watching the movies. If any of the person with an intention to disturb others' privacy try to tamper or try to invade into some other's system, then that is being called as a cyber crime. Then that particular thing is being called as a cyber crime. Now, moving forward, while most cyber crimes are carried out in order to generate profit for cyber criminals, some cyber crimes are carried out against computers or devices directly to damage or disable them, while others use computer or network to spread malware, illegal information, images, or other materials. Now, for most of the time, why cyber crimes are being committed is either due to defaming someone, or gaining some personal profit, or for finance. For any of these 3 reasons, these are 3 major reasons why cyber crimes are being created. And also to defame some particular person also, cyber crime is being done. Okay, now why this particular thing has been done? to gain some personal intentions. They have some personal intentions of doing this particular things. This can be with reference to malwares. This can be with reference to downloading or making your phone to download some of the application which uses special permissions to access multimedia of your mobile phone, to access your contact list. If at all some of the devices which try to access your multimedia and contact list has higher chances that that particular application or that particular app is under threat majority of the time. Why? Because if at all if they gain access to your multimedia, then they can blackmail you, then they can force you to do those things which you are not intentionally doing. So this is with reference to cybercrime. See, cybercrime can be like, in the last class also I told you, in the cybercrime your system can be used as a target or your system can be used as a weapon. Though you might not be seeing any of the things happening from your side, but internally the cyber criminal will be using your system MAC address to access other systems. It can happen, and many of the time this has happened. Okay, now this is with reference to the cybercrime. Next point, it says some cyber crimes do both, that is target computer to infect them with a computer virus which is then spread to other machines and sometimes the entire network. Now what do you mean by this? See, as I have told you, the system can be used as a target or the system can be used as a weapon. When it is been used as a target, the attacker will intentionally inject some malwares into your system so that either the files get duplicated or the files get deleted or the files is not being available for you, it has been hidden. It can be anything. Or in another way, it is been said like using your system, it is been spread all over the network. It can be spread all over the network. So it can happen in any of the way. So this is with reference to the cybercrime. Now the next point it says is a primary effect of cybercrime is finance or financial. Like I have told you, finance is a major part. Next further it says cybercrime can include many different types of profit-driven criminal activities, including ransomware attacks, email and internet fraud. Okay, with reference to email and internet security, soon we are going to have a session with reference to this particular thing. Okay, we'll inform you with reference to this particular topic. In the coming days, we'll be having a session with expert for internet and email security. Okay, anyhow, and identity frauds as well as attempts to steal financial accounts, credit card or other payment card information. So this is the purpose why cyber crimes are being done, and the people who do cyber crimes are being called as cyber criminals, and the people who try to save us from all of these cyber crimes are called as cyber policing or cyber police. Okay, they can be hackers or they can be anyone. Okay, now the next one is cyber criminal may also target an individual's private information as well as corporate data for theft and resale. If at all, if you see in the recent times, the information of Domino's and AirAsia was being sold on internet, but nobody took it. So what they have done, they have put it online in a public domain so that anyone and everyone can use that particular data. So corporate information and as well as individual information is being reused to gain some finance. Your photographs, your personal photographs can be published on internet to gain some personal amount, to gain some particular finance. So whenever you are giving any of the special access to anyone, you should be very much cautioning. You should be very much well versed and you should be well versed known of that particular things. Now what is cybercrime? Defining cybercrime. Now the US Department of Justice divides cybercrime into three categories. The first one is crime in which computing devices is the target. Like I have told you, for example, to gain network access. Second one is with reference to crime in which the computer is used as a weapon. For example, to launch a denial of services attack. And Third one is with reference to crime in which the computer is used as an accessory to a crime. For example, using computer to store illegal obtained data, like I have told you. You might not be knowing that your system is being used, but internally that is being used to uh, hide the crime or to make you the front person for the crime. Now the next slide, it says how cyber crimes work, how the cyber criminal works, and how this cyber crime happens. Cybercrime attacks can begin wherever there is digital data, opportunity to or opportunity and motive. What do you mean by this? For an example, you wrote the exam of cyber law and ethics, and unfortunately you got less marks. Unfortunately you got less marks. Now you want to increase the marks. The first way is that you will come and request the faculty that I want to increase, like I want extra marks, something like this. If at all that doesn't happen, you go for the HOD, you request that this was my problem sir, I cannot study, so please increase this much marks. And the last thing is, like, you see that the file is in front of you and you have a chance to increase the marks. You have the chance to increase the marks, so what you will do, you will increase the marks there and then. So this is how cybercrime works. It has a motive and it has a digital data and it has an opportunity. Why? Because if at all, if I give you the paper 100 times also, if you increase the marks, that marks will not be updated to me. Why? Because the paper is only with you. The paper is with you. I gave you the paper, but the marks will get changed if at all that is been reflected. That is been reflected to me. It can be with reference to a database. It can be with reference to a sheet, or it can be with reference to a physical paper on which I have written the marks. Okay. The second point, it says cyber criminal includes everyone from the lone user engaged in cyberbullying to state-sponsored attacks attacks or actors like China's intelligence services. Okay. Now, what do you mean by this? This means that, see, anything like, when you are abusing anyone, or if at all if you are intentionally saying something, or if at all if you are intentionally harming someone's personal thing, then it is been considered as cyberbullying. Even your small comment on any of the posts or any of the video can make you or can land you in jail in accordance to this cyberbullying act. So you should be very much well aware of what you are writing and how you are writing. Okay. Now, it can be with reference to an individual, or it can be state sponsored. State sponsored in the sense, whole of the country will be mocking someone, like at the moment of World Cup, whenever we and our neighboring country have a World Cup match, how we will be teasing them, I can say. That is what we call as state sponsored. Like, whole of the people is doing a particular act on a particular person or a particular state. So that is what we call as state sponsored things. The next one is with reference to cybercrime generally do not occur in a vacuum. They are in many ways distributed in nature. That is, cyber criminals typically rely on others actors to complete the crime. This is the basic thing in happening, like in any of the cyber crime. Until and unless you particularly allow or you particularly give the permission, then until then nobody can attack you. Until then nobody has the right and nobody can attack you. See, this is with reference to how cyber crime works. Until and unless you give the permission, nobody can enter your privacy or enter your device. The moment you give the permission, then you have lost your grounds. The next one is with reference to types of cyber crimes. What are the different types of cyber crime? There are many different types of cyber crimes. Most cyber crimes are carried out with the expectations of financial gain by the attackers, though the way cyber criminals aim to get paid can vary. Some specific type of cyber crimes includes the following type mentioned. Okay, the first one is with reference to cyber extortion. What do you mean by the cyber extortion? A crime involving an attack or threat of an attack coupled with a demand for money to stop the attack. The best example is with reference to ransomware. The moment you kidnap someone and you ask money in return of that particular person, that is what we call as extortion. In the same way, when you occupy a resource digitally and you ask money from the party to release that particular resource, that is what we call as cyber extortion. That particular thing is called as cyber extortion. The next one is with reference to one form of cyber extortion is ransomware attack that recently happened with reference to your ATM, with reference to your local system, with reference to your corporate system, that with reference to your supercomputer. The ransomware attack that had happened in the recent times. If at all you don't know about ransom attacks, please Google it. You'll come to know what actually the ransom attack is all about. Now the next one is with reference to here attacker gains access to an organization's system and encrypts its document and files anything of potential value, making the data inaccessible until a ransom is being paid. Usually this is in some form of cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin. For example, somebody has been kidnapped, or it is like the plane has been hijacked, or the train has been hijacked, or the ship has been hijacked, and the people or the criminal will ask you for some money in return. They will ask you for some money in return. So that is what we call as a ransom. If at all if you are paying some of the ransom to any of the form in digital format, then that comes under cyber extortion, and that is what we call as the extortion or cyber extortion. The next one is with reference to cryptojacking. Now what do you mean by this cryptojacking? An attack that uses script to mine cryptocurrency within browsers without the user consent. With reference to the recent currencies that has come, with reference to Bitcoin, with reference to the different things that has been arrived in the market, if at all in that particular case somebody is adding some script or accessing some particular thing without the user consent, so that is what we call as cryptojacking. Next point is cryptojacking attacks may involve loading cryptocurrency mining software to victim system. And also to tell you, these particular cryptocurrency mining software uses a lot of resources and a lot of time and a lot of finance involved in it. Like it will include your banking account details and everything. But they will make the system or the victim system in such a way that unless and until you pay that particular amount, you cannot move forward, and that this will be done without the user consent. Okay. The next one says, however, many attack depends on JavaScript code that does in browser mining if the user browser has a tab or window open on the malicious site. Further, it says no malware needs to be installed as loading the affected page executes the in-browser mining code. So this is with reference to the cryptojacking. I hope you have understood something from today's session with reference to the cybercrime and the types of cybercrime and what are the methods being involved in cybercrime. In the later part, we are going to continue this thing, and we are going to see the cost of cybercrime on any of the individuals or any of the corporates or any of the financial institutions. If at all you have any doubt with reference to today's session, you can ping me at ramat_ali2@gmail.com, or we can have a doubt clarification session mutually decided by all of the students. Thank you for listening. See you in the next class.